I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength and face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world, above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Oh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help when no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear, lost in this chaos.
Ho, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Ya Boys talking about AEW Dynamite. What is up? It is, as you see on my nameplate, Neek Dynamite, and I am joined by my usual buddies. Guys, let's introduce ourselves. Let's go in a clockwise formation. Robbie, start us off.
It's your boy Robbie back once again, enjoying another great All Elite Wrestling Dynamite live from Knoxville, Tennessee. And boys, did we have ourselves a treat. Now we're going to go down on to our other boy downstairs, and his name is Caesar.
How's it going, guys? I'm sitting down with these two fine gentlemen and the man behind the camera, Mr. John Escudero, talking about AEW wrestling. Finally sitting down talking about some good old Russian wrestling. And of course, like you said, is from Knoxville, Tennessee. So let's get right into it with the main event.
Oh, Caesar, you're the only 10 I see, buddy. But hey, let's go and talk. You know what else was a 10, guys? That music that was playing. We heard the whole song. Go and check that out if you're really into it. Saskia Creations on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you need to. It is a perfect 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But
Hell yeah.
Guys, do we think this episode was a 10? I don't know if it was all the way through, but that opening segment was definitely a 10. And usually we go and start off with the main event, but honestly, to me, that opener was the main event. So I want to go
Yeah.
right there.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's go. And
Jump it.
yeah, unlike usual, we're going to go right at the very beginning of the show. We opened with Will Ospreay and Kenny freaking Omega. Guys,
His old
like,
music too.
yeah, we had the return of his old music. Oh my gosh,
Battle
Kenny
Cry.
Battle Cry is so good. I was taken aback at first. I had to like stand up for my seat because I was like, wait a minute, is that what I think I heard? Not that his other song was bad by any means, because it was very like thematic and dramatic.
That one's
as
probably
it's-
like one of those like special feature kind of things that he'll
It has
bring
to
out
be.
once in a blue
As
moon
he
or so.
should.
Not very
I
often.
dig that. I would dig that. And, we got the boys coming on out here. And Ospreay has said that he wants to talk face-to-face, man-to-man with Kenny Omega. So, of course, Kenny comes out, and he's got all of the pyro. The entire pyro budget was just spent on him there.
For the
We have
year.
Kenny chants just throughout the arena. Knoxville, Tennessee, loving their boy. Not their boy, but he's everyone's boy. And Kenny Omega
Yes.
comes out, and we don't really get much between these two guys. However, Omega does put the note out there that until he had that diverticulitis episode that kept him away for a number of months, who knew that Ospreay existed? Will Ospreay became the genuine number 2, according to Kenny Omega. And we didn't get much there because we had, of course, the Don Callis family coming out, more specifically, Don Callis, Scar and all. Again, doesn't get to say much because Kenny Omega goes right for the kill, but of course, that's a trap. You know that the Alpha was lying in wait, and Fletch also comes in for the attack, and I'm really excited to talk about this. Ospreay, he was kind of hesitant for a moment. He's like, I really don't care about Kenny Omega because they talked about it. We've seen it for months and years. There's a lot of bad blood between those two guys, and the aerial assassin, though, he knows what's best for business. He knows that this is the right thing to do, so he jumps on out there and tries to help him. It's a 2-on-2. It starts off. It goes through the crowd. Everyone's just like, wow, what's going on here? And of course, you can't have two parts of the Don Callis family without the murder machines. The murder hog monster, Lance Archer, alongside the machine, Mr. Muscles himself, Brian Cage. And it's basically a 4-on-2 now. You're wondering, hey, where is everyone else? Like, are they going to have any backup? Is Davis going to come in there? Is Hobbs going to come on in there? Is John Escudero going to come on in there?
Hey, I just wanted to give a big old apology to our Facebook fans as there was a mix-up and I think a stream ran long, and when we went to start, it didn't let us on Facebook. So
Oh, no.
you guys will see us live elsewhere,
Ooh.
but you can continue.
Rest in peace, Facebook. But hey, you know what?
Damn it,
Rest in
Sucky.
peace, the murder hog monster, because it took two guys, Ospreay begging for help, and Omega finally goes over to help him out, and they are able to get him up for a double suplex through that table at the merchandise stand. But hey, that was not what we are here to talk about. We are here to talk about that awesome moment where we have the giant metal trusses up there on the stage, which were providing the lighting in this arena, and it looked really cool being there. But I knew the moment that they were panning through that crowd at the very start of the show, someone was going to jump off there. Darby's not around, so it's got to be probably one of these guys, right? Hey, why not both? So you got Kenny Omega climbing up the truss. On the other side, by the balcony, that giant wall, you had freaking Will Ospreay climbing up there. Yeah, here we go. Let's see it.
Ooh, we got it ready.
Words can't do this justice. We got to watch. Look at that. We missed Omega a little bit, but that was beautiful right there. Only a couple days after Super Crazy revisited his balcony
In the
dive in
Hammerstein,
GCW at the Hammerstein.
Such an epic clip too.
I love
That's
it.
what I was about to do too. Is give a shout out to Super Crazy, who's been doing those balcony moonsaults for years.
Super Crazy, my goat. Oh, there's John.
I did want to say I thought it was really funny that Kenny Omega couldn't trust Will Ospreay until Will Ospreay went up and acted like Kota Ibushi with him. Like that
Ooh.
he needed
Okay.
He's like, this motherfucker can moonsault off balconies with me? Okay. I like this guy.
You're good
That's what
people.
wins it over. They're not going to be the golden lovers, eh? Maybe they'll be the silver lovers. But
Huh.
if you know, you know. But hey, we had an awesome, amazing, incredible opener, and of course, that gives Omega the spot. He gets this idea, and hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to challenge the Don Callis family to a tag match at Grand Slam Australia. Guys, you can probably tell I'm really excited about this. This was an awesome segment.
Mhm.
I loved every single bit of this. I was even noting how this was probably the best opener, not even just in a long time, but possibly even in all of AEW's history. But I want to know what you guys thought. Caesar, my man, what do you think?
I hate this headset sometimes. No, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Killer intro segment. The fact that Kenny came down, spent the whole budget, I completely agree with you on that one. I don't know if you guys caught. It was like it was the part where I think it was like Ospreay and Murderhawk were in the stands, and then the camera had to rip through the crowd to catch up with them again. That little bit of like je ne sais quoi was kind of cool to see
Yeah.
because instead of just going, okay, let's cut to camera 3, they took the
Mhm.
camera and like, no, it just ran over.
I like that it still panned the audience too as
Yeah,
it did
they
that.
did. They just went through the
Mhm.
crowd like
Yeah.
this. Um, or did you guys pay attention at the table when they did the merch segment, or no? When they had like the pan shot, because the
Yeah.
one girl looked like she was like, "Oh shit's about to go down," and like the other guy looked like it looked like he's never been part of a wrestling segment because he was like this and it's like um,
That
but
sounds like he's
kudos.
perfectly been a part of a wrestling segment before.
Right? Yeah, kudos to them for everything they did for the intro segment. Did you guys get a weird vibe off of Coil's fit tonight, or was it just me? Because I was getting like a sort of like GI Joe slash Guile from Street Fighter kind of crossover mix, and
Hey,
I
have
was
you
like,
seen
what?
his entrance attire? Man's been high fashion for a
Yeah,
while.
he's been.
He
I don't know
has
who he's
been.
hiring, but like this man needs to like keep that person with them.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it's not Don Callis that's been hired to do it, or I'll be kind of terrified. But
Good tackle.
and then of course,
Keep
yeah,
the
that's the
fashion.
spot. I swear, I hope those two were like, "You do it, I'll do it," and they were like, "Let's go," and then they just launched. Like I don't know, it was great. So, Robbie, you take it away. What do you think?
And as we were all mentioning, that was a nice, fun opening. It's been one of the more funner openings we've seen in AEW in a while, as we've been getting these cold openings that are more like cold, daunting, a little bit depressing. Here we get something optimistic. I mean, we have moonsaults off of balconies, off of support beams, and stuff like that. Kenny Omega and Ospreay gonna be teaming up for the very first time at this point in time. As wrestling fans, we've been waiting to see this. They've been building for it for the last 2 3 weeks now, and the brawl itself was kind of fun. Didn't expect Archer to not chokeslam either Omega or Ospreay through a table because he is indeed the Murder Hawk, and that's who everyone should be afraid of these days.
Mhm.
And to see what Kyle was also able to do in the spot like that as well. Still not being the person that's doing most of that damage, but being the centerfold throughout the Callis family. And also, Takeshiko was also holding his own there too. We got to remember, it was 4-on-2. Considering the fact that Omega and Ospreay was able to take both those guys out,
Mhm.
no wonder what we were going to be able to do. And then I also want to shout out to Kenny Omega on this one too. That was kind of a hilarious line where he sat there and said, "Play my music because I'm afraid of heights."
Yeah.
that was that was just golding. That was like an R Truth sort of moment
Yeah.
there, but that's what something R Truth would say. So got to shout out to that. But I cannot wait for Grand Slam Australia coming up, and it's not going to be on pay per view. It's actually going to be on TNT and streaming on Max on a Saturday.
Mm.
I
Gotta
caught
get
that look
together
when I
with the
was
boys
looking
there.
at it.
Yeah, that's true. They shifted it over because it seemed like it was going to be this grand pay per view, and then it's kind of getting
Mm-hmm.
meticulously shifted downwards and downwards. Nothing wrong with that, though. Hey, I'll happily
Mm-hmm.
accept a
It's free
special
TV.
episode. Exactly. I'm
Yeah,
not going to complain
exactly.
about that. I don't want to spend money when I don't have to. But but guys, like again, like this opening segment was phenomenal. This is how you start off a show with a bang. And I don't know if you guys caught Collision, but the Murder Machines have been on fire lately. They showed the
That's
graphic. They're
good.
an undefeated tag team, as they should be. They're two monsters, literally. And they absolutely obliterated the Martin brothers, which I'm going to say to that. When was the last time we've ever seen the Martins get crushed in a match before? So, these guys are coming in here, no joke. On top of that, you've got the international champion, the Alpha, and you've got Fletch, who was the top of his division in the Continental Classic. So you got four amazing people, yet they were able to be held back by, honestly, you could argue these are going to be the top two franchise players in Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. These are the two guys that I think we've all thought for years you should build the company around these two guys. And I think the framing is there for this to become a major factor.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys have any last thoughts on that, or else we'll move on. All right, we'll move on. Well, this was Dynamite 277, and we are 10 episodes away from when we hit Dynamite 287. It will have officially passed Monday Nitro in longevity. So, hey, shout out to that. I got to reference that because they got
That's
my
great.
WCW tag team partner here.
Yes,
Ooh.
and that's one thing I gotta say is I gotta give AEW credit where credit's due. I know the IWC wants to bash them, but come on, it lasted longer than WCW Nitro for crying out loud at this point in time, and yet they're gonna keep going and going. AEW has been at this point now going to probably most likely be the second longest episodic show with Dynamite besides Raw in professional wrestling history. And it looks like they're going to be on the verge for it. So congrats to Tony Khan and the rest of the EVPs over in AEW, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a huge professional wrestling milestone as a TV show.
Absolutely. That is a huge victory for professional wrestling as a whole. But speaking of a huge victory, let's get to that opening match. AEW World Tag Team Titles. We got some OGs, some AEW originals and Private Party, the defending champions, taking on the Hurt Syndicates, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. And we had MVP on commentary. Guys, we hurt people. This match was great.
Yep.
I didn't really take many notes here. This match was all about those tag team titles, and in particular, two big, strong, amazing athletes who hurt people. Sorry, Private Party. This was not your time anymore because it is the time of the Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Syndicate are the new AEW Tag Team Champions, and they did this in record time too. They debuted probably about, I'd say, like October, November, respectively, for Shelton and Lashley. And here they are, only a few months later, holding championship gold, and it's such a great sight to see those two guys with championship belts. But all in all, match-wise and Hurt Syndicate having tag titles, what do we think about this? Robbie, start us off.
I literally put down in the chat as soon as I saw that match is coming up next. I was like, well, time to see Private Party lose the titles. Unfortunately, it was kind of a little bit unpredictable on my end because I knew that was probably going to be the demise of Private Party at that point. But it's even though it's great to see Shelton Benjamin doing Northern Lights suplexes when he's throwing freaking brother Quinn all over the place, and then seeing Private Party both get caught in the tope suicidas together, and seeing Benjamin and Lashley just belly to bellies in stereo. It was a great match. At one point, I thought that Private Party was going to be able to hit Silly String on. I think it was probably either Lashley or Benjamin. I don't remember who was about to take it. But
Shelton.
Shelton, that's what I was wondering about. Yeah. And then turn that into a tornado DT. From bell to bell, great match. Like at first, Private Party got as little as could be in offense. And then right from there, after that happened, Zay goes to the announce table. There's belly to bellies that happen too. That turned the match out really quickly. Congratulations to Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. That is just one title that each of them are going to have, and there's going to be many more to collect when it comes to Hurt Syndicate. I won't be surprised if we see them go for that two-man power trip going into it and holding everything in AEW at this point. But it was fun. But I will say, though, it is sad to see Private Party lose those titles super early after everything they built to get to that point when they beat the Young Bucks. But overall, fun match.
I agree completely. Caesar?
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of paraphrase Robbie on the part of, who was going to win tonight. But, like, does it really surprise you? Like, look at Bobby and look at Shelton side by side. They're basically a mattress with feet. Like, if you can get through them, all the power to you. It was an awesome match for what it served in the show tonight. Yeah, they did the silly string. It went into the DDT, like you said. what did Bobby hit, like 4 spears at least? 5 spears? Something
At least,
ridiculous
yeah.
like that. And I'm sorry, but like I feel like if these two are gonna stay as the tag champs, my only question is how long would you keep them? Because there's no way it's gonna be like a 2-month reign, maybe like half a year.
Mhm.
Because and I just kind of curious to see who would be the ones to take it down. I know it's like a ways to go, obviously, and also kind of a cool shout out that like they're both dressing kind of similarly. Like they both wear the ball caps, they wear the t-shirts, they have the matching gear now.
Yep.
So it's getting cooler and cooler. And of course, like they said, Shelton or not Shelton, Bobby could probably crush all 3 of us by himself and not break a sweat.
Oh
So
yeah.
I ain't saying too much bad. And if he sees us, hi Bobby. Or sorry, Robert.
Robert Lashley. But hey, you are exactly right. And quite frankly, both those guys deserve it. Both those guys are amazing wrestlers. So it's only fitting that they're able to come in here and immediately become champions. And I mean, too, when you think about it, you've got two amazing, incredible talents right there. Why wouldn't they? Especially with their amateur backgrounds, and they're
Mhm.
both physically strong. They are the most imposing frames in the whole locker room. Why are they not champions like day one? So, this early, I saw a lot of people saying, like, oh, they shouldn't have ended Private Party's reign so soon. But I'm like, when you see Lashley and Shelton, I mean, come on. Like, you gotta give those
Mhm.
two guys championship gold. It can't just be any championships. It's got to be amongst like the mainline titles. And in the world where the world title is going to be on Moxley, and you're not going to be able to give anything else for some of the lower echelon titles, I think these tag titles have a perfect home with the Hurt
Mhm.
Syndicate.
My question to you guys, actually, and of course to our amazing viewers who are watching on whatever platforms, would it be a bad idea to give them the trios belts too?
I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I mean, that will also put more.
Well,
What's
like,
that word I'm looking for?
what are they
That would
doing now
put
with the
more.
trios? What are they doing with the trios belts right now? Just hanging in the locker rooms. That's it. And like
Yeah,
you
at
were
that
saying,
point.
kind of Neek, like with those two and MVP as their voice, who can still
Mhm.
go? Why the hell not? At least the trios belts will be somewhere in the picture.
Right, because
Exactly.
honestly, it's been a while since we've seen those defended, and they've just pretty much become I don't want to say like the forgotten prop for the Death Riders almost, because I had to look it
It
up because I completely forgot the
sucks.
Death Riders were the trios champions.
That's the bad part when we're an
Mhm.
actual dirt sheet podcast and we can't remember who the damn champions are.
Yeah,
Learn
that.
AEW. Put them on a team. Hurt Syndicate.
And
Oh yeah,
overall, also bring back that damn World Heavyweight Championship back as well, because it doesn't feel the same without actually seeing the actual belt around anybody's waist. Because at this point, if you're having a new viewer tuning in to AEW, it's how they supposed to know that the Death Riders have the trios titles and the World Heavyweight Championship too.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, just sorry guys, but you guys start showing up the belts or start defending them or something. So
yeah. We need a little more something there, please, Tony Khan. Don't forget about those trios tag team
Hmm.
titles.
mm-hmm.
But moving on, we had the new champs celebrating until we got the video package highlighting the women's championship match getting set for Grand Slam Australia between that rookie who just stunned the world to become the number one
She's
contender.
pretty good.
Exactly. That
She's
rookie,
amazing.
Tony Storm, she is standing there getting interviewed until Harley Cameron appears out of nowhere.
Oh
And
my
they
god,
are
Harley.
speaking in super Australian terms that are starting to get very hard to hear. But you know what? They are both tremendous women, and that was a fun segment. I don't want to talk too much about it because if you haven't seen it, please go look it up. Those are two of the
Hmm.
most entertaining people on the whole roster. And I'm glad we got more Harley later on, but we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I'm ready for that part.
Oh yeah, and
I'm
hey,
waiting for
speaking
that.
speaking of promos and a microphone, Jeff Jarrett comes on out there, or maybe not. He was getting ready to, but then Karen is trying to tell him just how worried she is. But Jeff Jarrett. You're not gonna tell him what to do. So
Shut up,
he
Karen.
gets over to the ring and he gives a shout out to his fellow Tennessean Jerry the King Lawler. Who thought we were gonna get a Jerry Lawler reference in
In
2025
AEW,
on AEW? Yeah,
yeah.
Nobody.
they
I
talked
would have
about
thought at
their
least in WWE they would mention Lawler, but never in AEW.
Right?
exactly. And Jeff Jarrett is talking all about how Jerry Lawler and him were just two of the most dominant forces in all of Tennessee wrestling. And if you look at the history, go to Cage Match, go to wherever, you're going to see 100% both guys have been champions in there forever. They pretty much dominated those Tennessee and those Memphis territories. Look up the Jerry Jarrett territories, look up everything about Jerry Lawler, and you will definitely see a lot of what he was talking about there.
Just go and find Memphis Championship Wrestling. That's all you need to go find.
Wrestling.
And, he talks about how, he went back to a match and Jeff Jarrett was just completely beaten down, both physically and verbally. And he goes to the locker room where he's met by Jerry Lawler, who asks him, what the heck was he thinking? He gave him the advice to just never get into the gutter with your enemies. And Jeff Jarrett says that, hey, sometimes it's good to be reminded who you truly are. And he calls out MJF to settle things in that Southern wrestling style, because he's promising that he's going to be taking MJF out into the back by the woodshed. And you know exactly what happens when you take a sick animal behind that woodshed. And Jarrett's going to go over to that Knoxville crowd, and he's going to give them all the gift of being a man that's nearly 60 years old as that world champion. There he is. I don't hear anything there. I don't know if there's audio
It was
there.
just playing our Austin.
That's the actual clip. It was all silence.
Nothing happened.
Everyone's like,
it's a silent film.
Everyone was like,
sure is timeless in here. There's John. John, are you going to say something?
Ooh,
oh. All right, there they go. No comment. All right.
He got your attention. He's like, I'm out.
But hey, we saw him right there. That was Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio came out there as the Death Riders representative because Jeff Jarrett was calling out the world champion. But instead of getting the leader, he doesn't get Mox. He gets Claudio. And Claudio is just straight up, like I said, that representative. And he's going to be saying that, hey, if you can beat me, fine, you can get your wish, but good luck because I am a killer. And Castagnoli says that beating Jeff Jarrett lifeless is going to be an interesting proposal, and he's not going to get that world title match. So Jeff Jarrett, he does get a title shot, but he's got to get through the big, the strong, the incredible Claudio Castagnoli. We feeling anything good about that match with Claudio and Jarrett, fellas?
It'll be interesting.
That's for honestly, sure. It could be fun because we know that sometimes Jeff Jarrett can still wrestle like the old Jeff Jarrett back in the day. But I think there's somebody that's going to bring the old Jeff Jarrett out of him. It's going to be Claudio. So I hope it's going to be a fun match. Indeed.
The one thing I will say I'm hoping for is like, or not hoping for, I've been noticing is like AEW versus the other guys, to be subtle about it, is the way they portray like the older generation. Like they're not just like, oh, here's a bunch of like 50-year-old dudes. No, they make them seem more relevant and actually like they can go. Like they just got off the bus yesterday for their first match, and it's like, well, yeah, like from what I've seen with Jarrett in WCW and a little bit in like the WWE era, I don't know. I'm not saying it's gonna be like a barn burner or anything exciting, crazy, but like it'll be interesting. There'll be hits.
Also, and I know what Caesar is also saying too. That's one thing I'm loving too. What they've been doing down in Ring of Honor for Dustin Rhodes as well. Dustin's getting the same treatment as well.
Was he like double champ now? Triple champ? Double champ.
I think he's
got both tag and Ring of Honor trios.
Right?
No,
sixth man. Yeah, exactly.
The technical term is sixth man or something like that.
Yeah. Sons of Texas represent. He's got tag titles with Sammy Guevara, but he's also the trios gold with the Von Erich brothers, who have just signed full-time contracts. So shout out to that.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
Speaking of signing your full-time contract, we got a video package on that arrival from Megan Bain during last week's Women's Casino Gauntlet. She really took the wrestling world by storm when she showed up. She had a lot of presence. She had a lot of aura, and I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to see more of her and what she's going to be bringing to AEW.
Keep her around, please.
Yes, and I honestly can't wait too for all the matchups they're going to have with her, with Monet, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Julia Hart, Camille Brickhouse at some point too.
Right.
And,
yeah, let's do it. Megan Bain and Camille. Give me some popcorn. I'll watch that.
And I'm also going to say this too. It's also a big slip up on Hunter's part for not getting Megan Bain as well.
probably
This is a
tried, knowing
huge
him.
acquisition for AEW.
He probably tried to get her, but something in the cards happened that was like, oh, we can't take you because insert thing.
Hmm.
Going to IWGP or Japan probably is one of the things, but who knows?
Yeah, so Megan Bain is just an absolutely incredible talent, and like we said, all
Hmm.
said here, I can't wait to see what she's gonna do. And speaking of can't wait to see, I couldn't wait to see Swerve Strickland taking on AR Fox. These two guys are some of the best that they got in the ring, and it's cool to see them revisiting this friends and enemies storyline.
So it
It's
wasn't
great.
just me though. I thought the same thing about that match.
Exactly.
You got
Uh,
a lot going on in there, so I'm really I was really excited to see this, and it was great. Everything that we thought. Two men are trading strikes left and right. It spills to the outside. You're getting everything you want, but be it technical, be it high flying. I don't want to say
be it
too much
hard
on this
hitting.
match. It was hard hitting as well. I don't want to say too much on this match because this was definitely one that you want to go back and watch, and you need to go and see. It's also worth noting that during this match, you had Ricochet looking way too much like Andrew Tate walking through the backstage area,
Whoa! I didn't think about that one.
taking the
I
golden
was glad I
scissors,
wasn't the only one thinking that.
right? And you're sticking them into where you put your pocket square on a jacket. And Ricochet heads to the ring with the scissors, looking to get involved. He's like, "Hey, you know what? The Acclaim don't have this gimmick anymore. It's going to be mine." And he wants to get
Mm.
involved, but Prince Nana, with a lead freaking pipe, runs him off. Hey, Nana remembers getting attacked. He remembers what happened to Swerve. He's not going to be playing around. So before we get to some follow up from that part, I want to talk about this match because it was great. It was awesome to see AR Fox back on AEW TV once again. While you guys talk about this match, I want to pull up something real quick and see just when the last time AR Fox wrestled on a mainline AEW
I'm gonna say
TV
probably
show.
like a year ago, because he
Yeah,
had that little bit of a
it's been a long
feud.
time since AR Fox has been on AEW television. I'll say that.
Because I
So
know
he's
he's
been,
been going pretty much during the Ring of Honor era. I'm not
yeah.
sure his matches very much, but still.
So he's been competing off and on Ring of Honor TV, but it looks like his last televised AEW match was on Collision number 69. Give me a nice there, where he took on Nick
Hmm.
Wayne
Well,
November 7th, 2024.
November 7th, 2024. Oh, it's not that. That's pretty recent, honestly.
Yeah, so it wasn't as long ago, but if we're looking at his last Dynamite appearance, it was a match, and this tells you how long ago that was, with Wardlow in November
whole
29th, 2023.
that's a name I haven't heard in like a
Where the
generation
fuck's
at least.
Wardlow?
It feels like it.
Where was the hell? When the hell have we seen him last? Like 2 years ago?
Oh, it's been a bit. Allegedly dealing with some injuries once again. His last match
Yeah.
His
was
in
Big Business on March 13th, 2024, where he
you want
took on Samoa Joe for the world title.
which one was it that he did where like he had that like Jeff Hardy Swanton Bomb match? Was that Big Business? No, before that
Honestly,
wasn't
it's
it?
been so long since we've seen
No,
him.
but
I'm
you
pretty
guys know what I'm
sure.
talking about.
Yeah.
That's the main
Yeah.
thing. It's like that could be a factor of why he's gone for a bit, but he'll be back when he's back, and
Speaking of being gone, did you guys see that sign that was in the front row where it was the fan that was like missing? There's a reward for it, and it's the Luchasaurus.
no, I didn't see that one. I
Yes.
saw a couple other ones
Yes.
actually.
That was perfect. That was also a good sign. But the match overall, though, back on the topic, the match overall between AR and Swerve, that was a fun fucking match.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime Swerve and AR Fox get into the ring together, it's magic. And it's one of those scenarios where both of them have known each other for a very, very long time, especially within the indie circuit before getting into wrestling each other in AEW. It was very back and forth, very fun, which I honestly wish that Ricochet didn't fucking get involved because this was a really fun match and it took a lot of spotlight off of AR Fox, in my opinion. And what can I say? We knew Swerve was going to win, but AR Fox was going to put it up. Swerve stomped, that's what ended it. But overall, AR Fox, I hope AEW puts more time into AR. Because with more time and more seasoning with AR, you got a star on your hands.
Oh yeah. No, the one thing I was gonna point out actually, and whether it's been like these guys or like the Young Bucks with another tag team or somebody is like, you hate when you see two people that know each other so well that they can counter, the counter, the counter, the counter. Those kind of matches are annoying. Thankfully tonight there were counters thrown in, but it wasn't just straight up 15 minutes of counters. It was like, like you said earlier, Neeks, there's hard hits, flying, chops. Take your pick. It was in the match. So kudos to both guys in that regard.
Right. And I think one of the subtle stories that was being told here too is the fact that, they both know each other so well. They've both wrestled all over the United States and even the world once AR Fox has fixed up passport issues. But,
Passport.
yeah, these two guys really like just tore it down. And AR Fox, when he flies, guys, I don't know, he just floats, and it's absolutely incredible
Like a
how he could do
butterfly.
that. Yeah, exactly. But don't sell Swerve short by any means, because he himself is an absolute killer in the ring.
They're both really good. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, they're.
Yeah. So we get that house call connection right before Swerve goes to the top for that Swerve stomp, and he gets that victory. And Strickland was beginning to help AR Fox to his feet. At the very least, we get one of those, amazing, just masculine bro moments. They're like, yeah, and they grab each other's
Could
by the hand there.
could we see AR working with him on main possibly?
Maybe this is what kind of helped us reunite those two.
Hear me out. Hear me out. We'll have Swerve with AR, but it'll be an AR match. It'll be AR. Ready for this name? Ready for this name? It'll be AR versus Ricochet.
Oh.
I'm done. Going home.
Well, hey, speaking of Ricochet was holding some scissors right up to the throat of Prince Nana, and Nana looks like he is just begging for his life. And, we saw what Ricochet was able to do to Swerve a couple weeks back, and Ricochet is not too happy. He's not too thrilled with having been embarrassed last week to Swerve's own theme song on beat. So we get a little bit of a threat from Ricochet before we get that ha ha as he walks away
Hate
before
that stupid
Swerve
thing.
can find him. We get a collision roundup on the confrontation between Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs. That was meat. And we get the New York Minute as Chris Jericho talks about that Saturday collision between two powerhouses. But then it seems that the fun ends very fast when that New York Minute just becomes a standard promo. All the fun graphics vanish away.
Yeah, that
as
was a buzzkill.
Big Bill starts getting berated by the Learning Tree on his loss, and not just his loss, but on the loss from the Learning Tree. Big Bill says, hey, it wasn't my fault. So we're going to be having a challenge with Big Bill calling out Powerhouse Hobbs, challenging to a match when AEW goes to Jacksonville before walking off. And it seems
Be a
that
meat
there's some
match.
trouble in paradise with that Learning Tree. But I got to say, guys,
Ooh.
I'm personally looking forward to Hobbs and Big Bill. What do you guys think? Robbie,
I'll
you
let
want
Robbie
to
go
say
first,
something
yeah.
excited there?
Honestly, I cannot wait to see Big Bill versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Big Bill has been somebody that has been really improving on his work rate and has been really great in the ring for AEW for the past year. He's been with All Elite, along with what we've seen from him in WWE, where it's like he had the potential, but it wasn't getting tapped in. Now with Big Bill being able to face somebody like a Powerhouse Hobbs, this will put Big Bill more into the spotlight instead of just being a so-called tag team wrestler or a trios wrestler in Ring of Honor and AEW terms. That and plus you have a Powerhouse Hobbs who had a tremendous match at Maximum Carnage against Moxley last week, who tore up the house with him in that title match. With what Powerhouse Hobbs is all about. He's a future world champion in AEW. How couldn't you not be excited for this match? Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, you got big meat everywhere. It's gonna be big boot after big boot, power
Big.
slam after power slam. I can't wait.
No, exactly. And speaking of can't wait, MJF comes out to completely interrupt whatever match is getting ready to happen, telling good old Tyler Shoop, there it is, to get out of the ring. Yes, Caesar.
Question for the group. Who remembers, like, I don't remember the exact year it was, but it was like late 2000s or whenever Cody Rhodes jumped to Impact? Do you guys remember that match where it was Brandy and a jobber and he showed up and like was like, I don't know your name. Here's $40. It's more than they're gonna pay you. You remember that video? Because that,
Yes,
yeah, I got that vibe today with MJF coming out. I was like, I swear, if he does this, like Cody, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
I think that might have been around. Let's see. He left WWE in 2016, right?
No, wasn't it
So it could have been
earlier?
2017, 2018, possibly 2016. It was definitely the era where Global Force Wrestling was a thing too.
Yeah, that's when it was. But I thought Cody quit earlier, and then no, my timeline sort of makes up. My point is though, I got that vibe so hard, and I was like, could you imagine if he does that? Being MJF, being an asshole, and just be like, here's like $5, leave.
Mr. Shoop doesn't even get that. He just got told to
Nope.
get out of the ring before his match is able to start. And MJF talks about Double J, Jeff Jarrett, who was on earlier, and he basically sums it up by saying with the incredible line that it was better to make a deal with the devil than to defy him. And so MJF, he still has his sights set on JEFFJARRET. And right when MJF is leaving, Hangman, Adam Page comes down, and you know it's the Hangman's match, and he doesn't really take too kindly to being interrupted. And we get a little bit of a stare down as well as some jawing between those two guys, and it is just masculine man up against masculine man wanting to prove a point. And speaking of proving a point, Hangman Adam Page goes in there up against Jay Shoop. There it is. Tyler Shoop is going on in there. And shout out to Tony Schiavone for having a lot of trivia about Tyler's father, Bob Shoop, who genuinely was, I believe, a coach for Penn State. And
Yeah,
it
I
didn't.
heard that actually.
was.
While he's going
He
over that
was.
trivia, Hangman Adam Page hits that buckshot lariat, and that's the end of the match right there. Boom. Shoop's out for the pin, for the victory. Shoop, there it is. Shoop, there it isn't.
Shoop, there it isn't.
Exactly. And I was looking at his match history. That was actually Mr. Shoop's first AEW match. So, hey, shout out to him
Ooh.
getting a moment up with two of the top names in AEW.
2026 world champion. You never know.
As you know, Page goes and lays right into Shoop some more after hitting the Angel's Wings, which, speaking of which, Christopher Daniels, CD, comes out with a neck brace. If you missed it on Collision, Christopher Daniels lost an incredible Texas death match to the Hangman, which, as Daniels says, pretty much just ended his career. That death match was too much for his neck to handle. The doctors told him, I can't do this anymore. He's had it for, gosh, a 30-year career almost, give or take. So Christopher Daniels has had a lot of experience, and it's sad to see the end of that career. But guys, all in all, Christopher Daniels, what are some of our favorite matches and moments with CD? I know I kind of put us on the spot there, and there's a lot to go with, but I don't know. It feels a shame that we didn't get to talk much about that.
When it comes to Christopher Daniels, I'm trying to remember what pay-per-view it was, but it's definitely a TNA match, and that is the triple threat match between Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles.
Unbreakable.
That was my
Wasn't it like
favorite.
early 2000s?
Unbreakable 2005.
Yep, Unbreakable 2005.
Okay.
That's what it was. That is one of my favorite X Division matches of all time because the story going into it was that Christopher Daniels was concussed pretty bad by Samoa Joe, and they were worried about Christopher Daniels even being into the match. But it was purely electrifying what those three were able to do, and I can't wait to watch that match back again. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up on YouTube, or even go ahead and go get Impact Plus. It's right there, Unbreakable 2005. And that match there, growing up, that's what made me think that Christopher Daniels was something special. To me, at some point, I always thought he was going to be a TNA World Heavyweight Champion at some point. But Christopher Daniels, for everywhere he's worked, WWE, TNA, New Japan, Noah, etc., AEW. Christopher Daniels, in my opinion, will go down as one of the greatest professional wrestlers in this world that had never held any World Heavyweight Championship in any major promotion. And seeing Christopher Daniels retire, it's well-deserved. He's been in the business for 30 years. Thank you, Christopher Daniels, the fallen angel, for everything you've done. From tag team wrestling with Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky with SCU to bringing us moments with Abyss, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, even Triple X with Elix Skipper and Low Key as well. With that, a feud with the America's Most Wanted. Thank you, Christopher Daniels, for everything you've done.
Absolutely. And Christopher Daniels is one of those guys. He's been anywhere and everywhere. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, might not remember him even being in like WWF at a certain point. Like you would always see him on like Metal
Yep.
and Jacked. And again, he was such a consistent force on there. You could tell they wanted to do something with him, but they couldn't quite figure it out. And there was always that long-standing rumor of him being the one that was going to be the higher power before they
Higher
swapped
power,
over to
yep.
Vince. And even towards its dying days, remember he was also a part of in a similar role and character with WCW. So
Mm-hmm.
he still got to wrestle there, TNA, Ring of Honor, you name it. Find a place that Christopher Daniels hasn't wrestled. And when I was looking at his profile, I mean, he's got a debut of April 1993. So yeah, he's got a
Yep.
32-year wrestling career. The guy is, again, like you said, he's been around, he's been everywhere. He could do it all. He could do a serious match, he could do technical, he could do high flying, he could do comedy, he could do it all. And when I think of TNA, I really can't think of very many people other than Christopher Daniels when I think
Mm-hmm.
of who some of the most influential and mainstay guys are. And like you were saying, Robbie, that trios match, that triple threat at Unbreakable was one of my all-time favorite matches. And I even just watched it the other night because I was just thinking about Christopher Daniels and what some of my favorite matches are. And it still holds up to this day. And you got three of the all-time greats right in there. So again, kudos to you, Christopher Daniels, on one amazing wrestling career. And it's going to be good to see him still influencing tons of newcomers and the pro wrestling scene as he continues his backstage role with AEW. Caesar, you got any final thoughts to
Um,
throw out there? Look like you're going to say something.
yeah, like it kind of sucks because I'm the guy in the group who's known of Christopher Daniels only for a few years compared to everyone else, like you guys. So I can only say I've only seen his Ring of Honor matches as of recent and a little bit of the trios things he's done with SCU. And the odd match I've seen on like YouTube clips or actual matches on YouTube clips. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, you never know though. It is wrestling.
Right.
You could say I'm retiring.
Mm-hmm.
2 months later, boom, SCU pops through. Who knows?
Forever.
Who the hell knows? We just gotta wait and see. So
Which reminds me,
What's
when
up, Robbie?
Scorpio Sky coming back to AEW?
it's asking a lot.
Because Scorpio's gonna have to avenge Christopher Daniels now at this point with Hangman. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, right. We just saw him in like one of the pre-show battle royals last year, and then on top of that, he
Mm-hmm.
just was at Private Party's little backstage segment with Cheesecake. Which, by the way, I don't remember which match that was quite in, but did you guys notice on one of the matches where they spilled into the crowd, Cheesecake was talking with one of the fans there, kind of joking with him.
Yeah, I seen that. That's
If
actually
so,
kind of funny.
And speaking of funny, we had Mercedes Moné talking about all that she has done wrestling all over the world, and Australia will be no different. And Harley Cameron comes out there all ready to sing a nice little tune with her guitar as she's ready to hop onto the Moné train. And Moné runs Harley down for just really not winning very many matches, if any, in AEW. So she got a hard gnar as Mercedes walks
ooh,
off. Yes,
question.
Caesar.
My dad actually brought this up when we were watching. Do you guys? No, don't worry. It's not about her looks. Let's just get that out there. Do you guys think she was actually playing the guitar?
Harley? I
Yeah.
believe so.
I think so. She was actually pretty. It sounded like she was playing pretty well too.
Part of
Seemed like
me,
it.
part of me thinks she is too because I actually play guitar, and her hands were actually moving at times when like the audio was going. And if she's lip syncing, then damn, she's good at it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Still better than Jillian Hall.
yep,
absolutely.
you said that, or when you two said that in the chat, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, but she has absolutely found her thing. And I saw WrestleView.com even say that, and I'm going to quote this, I'm just going to say, I love when wrestlers finally find their thing. And I think Harley has found hers the past couple months or so. And I have
But
to agree with that.
what would you call it? Being weird and random? Being a psycho?
I think the
Oh.
kind of I'll go kind of with the psycho part, but it's the funniness that she has and the comedic timing, as well as just the overall entertainment factor that she brings to the table. I have loved every single segment, and anytime she is on TV, I can't look away because I'm always curious what she's gonna do next.
The part that I will say for me that kind of made it more attached or tangible, more approachable, is she got rid of Soraya. Like I'm so happy with that. Like
Yeah, and
it just
I
seemed like she was Soraya's lapdog, running
mhm.
around screaming all that bullshit. Like no, thank
Right.
you. Now she just seems like this weird, crazy friend who's like, "Dare me to eat that pizza? I'm gonna eat that pizza." And then you're like, What? What the hell?" So yeah, let's see what the hell happens going forward.
Yeah. Robbie, what were you gonna say there?
I just had a bright light bulb idea.
All
I
right,
mean,
hit us with it.
considering that Harley Cameron's now at this point doing the guitar and singing gimmick,
She's doing Harley.
honestly, I don't care if I get torched for this, but why not sign Elias to AEW to pair up with Harley Cameron at this point? Imagine what those two could be able to do, especially if Elias turns comedic at that point.
My only thing I have to say about that is, where is he? That's
That
my
is a
only
good question.
question.
I think he's probably hanging out with Ezekiel.
Ooh.
Well, I have seen that he's been like doing some indie stuff here and there, but I haven't heard like, anything big with Elias.
Yeah. But I mean, Harley, she's got that guitar. I mean, we've seen how guitars get used as a gimmick countless times over the
I
years. I stare at Mr. Slapnuts himself, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, but Jeff Jarrett did it well, and Harley just seems like she's doing it for a giggle. So I don't think they're gonna
Hmm.
incorporate it into um her shtick until like down the road when she goes to like the ring and she's like super over. That's when they might bring it around. But right now, no, I don't see it coming around.
Yeah, not yet until they kind of want to ease a little bit off of the comedic pedal right there. But
Oh no, no, keep the comedic pedal going. It's weird. We need that weird sometimes. Look at
that
our
weird,
truth.
quirky, exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange. It makes us scratch our head. But we're still paying attention when our truth or Harley in this case comes on TV. You're like, ooh, guitar, screaming, title belts, grand slam, like so.
Yeah, and hey, going with that vibe of title belts, let's go on to the next match where we got some former champions taking each other on. Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter. This
Woo!
is a grudge match of grudge matches right here. And again, this was a great match with two of AEW's own personal homegrown talents. And Hayter takes control early on, emphasizing her power, whereas Julia Hart was bringing in all the graps, all the grapples. She was hitting like that octopus hold was incredible. You weren't able to find really very many opportunities for the Hatebreaker to get hit, but there was one at the very end where Julia, after hitting a backbreaker of her own, Jamie responds quickly with the Hatebreaker, followed with the Haterade for that victory. Hater gets on the microphone after the match to give some respect to Julia Hart, and this was not the rubber match, but they want to get that rubber match because now it is 1-1, and we're
Hmm.
going to see at some point in the near future who's going to be the tiebreaker. Fellas, all in all, what do we think of this match? Hater and Hart. Robbie?
Honestly, it was definitely a kind of a better match than what Julia and Jamie Hayter had the first time around. It was definitely a lot better. You could tell Julia's finally getting her footing back in the ring since returning from her injury. And everything that Jamie Hayter and
Hey, Curbside
Julia
Hero.
Hart had done, it was very
Mr.
fun
Mack.
watching these two go at it. It's been a rivalry that was pretty much hyped up, and like you said, it's 1-1 now. Now we need that rubber match. Now at this point, I forgot what they're going to call House of Black now if Black is gone. But at this point, I say if it's 1-1, make it a House of Black rules match or something on those lines, where anything goes and both of them can just beat the hell out of each other because you got enough fuel now in this rivalry where they can just go and wail on each other and everybody will be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Caesar?
I'm gonna sound like an ass kisser, but sometimes someone's got to do that. Simple thing I can say is this: solid match from both ladies. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm not saying it was like 10 out of 10, 7 star, that kind of crap.
Right.
I'm just saying
Mhm.
they did the job. They got with each other. They beat the crap out of each other. And like you guys are saying, we need a part 3. House of Black rules wise, I do agree with that, or whatever they call themselves. But if they're gonna go that extent, then make it for like a Revolution or like
Mhm.
Dynasty. Don't do it on a special Dynamite or some crap. Just make us wait, build up the feud, let them have their fun, and then at the show, boom, House of Black rules.
Yeah.
No on a pole match.
Oh, don't worry, they're not hiring Vince Russo at AEW anytime soon.
Knock on wood.
And if you want to hear us talk all about Vince Russo, make sure you go join the WCW cast. We talked about Vince Russo
Exactly.
and then some for WCW Greed 2001. The replay is available on all
Ooh,
Dirt Sheet Radio channels.
let's go.
But you know what, guys? I mean, Caesar, you kind of were bringing this up too, and I have to agree. This was a great match between these two, and I think it was much
Yeah.
better than their first time going around. Because I think when we first saw them wrestling, you could definitely tell Julia wasn't doing too much right before then, but it definitely feels like Julia's been hitting her strides once again. Jamie Hayter, great as ever. It feels like she was never gone for a bit. So it's great to see both ladies back. And this is definitely the match I think everyone wanted the first time around. So I can't wait to see that third one. I feel like it'll be even better because I think both ladies have something to prove there.
Amen to that one, sister.
Woo! But if we have nothing else to throw out there for that match, we're going to be having a meat match confirmed as Powerhouse Hobbs says that he will indeed see Big Bill in Jacksonville for Collision.
That's
And
2
that's going to be a
weeks.
collision of the Colossuses.
No,
Yes.
that's the. I'm thinking of the Swerve Ricochet match. That's in 2 weeks.
So we're going
In
to get
Jackson.
that.
The 2 weeks in Jacksonville.
Swerve and Ricochet is going to be in Atlanta because following this, we went
Yep.
backstage where Swerve Strickland was with Prince Nana, and Strickland teased the possibility of handling things even before both guys meet up in Atlanta. But going on after that, we had an awesome video package, the House of Black Remnant.
Package.
Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart were addressing a voice that has guided them is now going silent. And they won't be honoring the house no more. They will only be honoring violence. And they have a dog with them now. So, hey, shout out. I am
I
always
know what
in
the
favor
dog's
of
name is.
that. I wonder if that's Cerberus. We saw Brody King got a few things trademarked, and one of which was Cerberus. So, hey, shout out to that. There's a lot of intrigue going on with the House of Black situation. Many people thinking Malachi Black is going to leave and jump back to WWE to become Aleister Black. I don't know what's necessarily the truth in there because it's pro wrestling, but it definitely seems that Malachi is definitely out because why else would they be doing something like this? Guys, what do we think though is to come for this House of Black remnant faction, whatever they might be named?
Puppy.
Puppy, yeah. Doggo. Cute
Video
doggy.
package. The video package was well put together. Obviously,
Yeah.
the dog of the story is definitely gonna be a key part in special interests for Buddy Matthews and Brody King and Julia Hart for the future. Obviously, with Julia Hart probably potentially going to be going into becoming a women's champion once again for AEW because she definitely was a great champion in my opinion when she held the TBS title. And with Buddy and Brody, this means more opportunity for these two to soar throughout AEW, whether it's TNT title, whether it's international title, or going for the tag team championship. It doesn't matter. I think the sky's the limit now for Buddy Matthews and Brody King, and they said it in the package that they were under the shadows as well, and now they're coming out of the shadow. So knowing that, that means they're going to put more of a spotlight on them. There's going to be more TV time for these two individuals as a tag team alongside Julia Hart. And as it comes from Malachi Black, I think it's now obvious that we should probably just embrace to see if Aleister Black makes his return to WWE when
Royal
Rudolph
Rumble.
Eve is blaring through the Royal Rumble match.
Absolutely. Caesar?
I'm just playing the waiting game now because we are into Royal Rumble season. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And if any Dirt Sheet boys want to send me their videos soon so I can put stuff together, we're going to have, of course, a special, just like we did last year, of the Dirt Sheet Radio hosts sharing their predictions for the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches. So, hey, everyone, make sure that you stay tuned to Dirt Sheet Radio social media where we will be going over our individual predictions. But
And last but not least,
last but not least, exactly. And I want to give a shout out to Mamo Laraco for spotting this one. Notice how immediately after this promo, that's when the Rated R superstar Cope makes his entrance.
I
And we
hate
all
that name.
remember Cope was the one whom kind of gave especially Brody and Julia Hart that kind of inspiration to, go off and do their own thing beyond Malachi in the House of Black. So it was kind of interesting that they followed that promo up with Cope making his entrance. Don't know if that was a coincidence or not, but it was definitely something notable. So shout out to Mama Laraco for noticing that. But hey, we had a great match with two all-star talents, the Rated R superstar Cope taking on the Bastard Pack. And Pack is going on the attack as he jumps Cope to the mat. But hey, Pack representing the Trios champions is going to go all in against Cope, who actually is holding his own quite well. And shout out to the crowd being behind, honestly, both of these guys. Pack having tremendous presence, and Cope being the legend. I'm surprised they don't call him Ledge. Anyways, Pack gets back up, thrust kick to the entire neck of Cope. Remember, Cope's had a long history of neck injuries, so shout out to Pack for continuing to work on that neck. I guarantee that's going to be a thing we see for some time in AEW as everyone works on the neck. But former TNT champion Cope picks himself back up, breaking the hold, and we see a major spear followed by, and I was surprised to see this, an airplane spin cutter getting a victory in 2025 on the Trios champion. Rated R superstar Cope gets the victory, and we might possibly get a maybe rated FTR Trios
Just
match.
put the belts on anybody.
Yeah, let's see those Trios titles again. But we don't really get much time to celebrate because Cope still hurt in the ring. We see on screen the Death Riders beating down FTR, and the Rock and Roll Express were backstage, as Tony Schiavone was saying. They were doing media for AEW, and the Legends and FTR were taken down. And Mox says he was trying to warn them, and Death Riders make their way through the crowd at ringside, and the group beats down Cope, who's already been through a brutal match, until we hear the shing sound as Jay White, the Switchblade, makes his way out for the save. And he's just one guy, but you might not think that with this one-man army taking on everyone. He beats up Emo Yuta. He beats up Claudio. He is standing on his own, hitting Mox almost with a Blade Runner until Yuta hits that low blow and prevents it from happening. And Death Riders take that opportunity to beat down the Switchblade just like they did to Cope. And the Death Riders once again stand tall as they leave through the crowd to close out Dynamite. Match wise, post match segment, guys, what do we think of all this? Caesar, start us off, buddy.
It was actually a good match to see. I mean, you'd think that because of how their characters are when it comes to like Pac being able to do flippy flips and Cope being able to do like hard hitting styles, they would stick to certain things, but no, they actually went everywhere. Um, I or was it? Trying to remember the part of the match I'm thinking of here. I'll backburn that for 2 seconds. Where's my nose? Oh, there we go. Yeah. So when it came to the post match, does that really surprise us anymore when it comes to like the whole Death Riders popping out of nowhere and destroying things before they show up? Kind of not surprising. And it brings us back to like, why aren't they carrying the belts out to ringside just to be dicks and be like, look at we've got guys, we got this belt,
Right.
and they're not doing that. And then of course, like you said, with the blade noise coming off and Jay White coming down to the ring, I'm just kind of curious to see what's going to happen now because you got Cope, you've got Jay, and they're missing a third person. Could they be a makeshift trio just to, you know, give them something to do? Because aren't the guns out and so is Juice? So I'm not against that idea. Give them three unlikely allies, put them in a tag team
Hey, whenever
or
he
a
comes
trio.
back, Orange is completely used to working with random people, especially against the Death Riders.
I would be. I mean, him and Jay White did that match, and that was a pretty weird team, but they still went.
They got a
Give us
bromance
that.
going.
It's a strange bromance, but
A bromance nonetheless.
yeah. So, Robbie, what do you think?
As you guys saying, honestly, this match for me was kind of fun, and I kept thinking to myself, like, finally we're getting the rated R superstar versus the bastard. Like, this is, I think if I am correct, this is the first time ever that the rated R superstar, formerly known as Edge, Adam Copeland, has taken on the formerly known as Adrian Neville aka the Bastard Pack, ever in wrestling history now. Because when Colt first came back to WWE, Pac was already in AEW, already signed. So seeing these guys go at it for the first time ever, no in-ring chemistry at that point. They did pretty fucking good for some people that only went against each other for the first time. Pac was really well in that match, attacking the neck, that storytelling of the two triple fusion neck surgeries that Copeland had gone through, alongside Cope being able to hang with Pac as well, who was slightly younger as well, being able to do the technical wrestling, seeing Cope hit a head scissors for the first time and probably in his career in 20 plus years. I haven't seen him hit a head scissors in God knows how long. But it was a fun match, and it just made me. It basically made me wonder why I was always a Edge fan. I was always somebody
You're
that
an edgehead?
loved watching. Exactly, I was an Edge head growing up, and just watching him and Pac go at it just makes me warm inside because I know that Cope still's got it in him to keep going. But now for the post match, this is where we're going to get a little bit daunting. It's getting to a point now where any point in the show, we know the Death Riders are going to attack. To me, I think our boy John here, he might feel the same about this. I need something new within this Death Rider story. I feel like there hasn't been an arc. When it first started, they were talking about a whole new leader that's calling the shots. They haven't referred to it since the summer. At this point, are we just going to go with Moxley as a leader, or is there really somebody leading this group of misfit toys to demolish everybody in AEW? And then for the beatdown itself, obviously we've seen that happening. Jay White coming down, that was a surprise, seeing Jay White come on down. But then nobody else because of everything with Rock and Roll and Rated and FTR.
Which shout out, by the way, to Death Riders finally following through and attacking the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, they did, and they pulled the trigger. And that was in the earlier on in tonight where John Moxley sat there and said that he was tired of older wrestlers and legends coming in and that he wanted to restore a new future for the newer generation, which is kind of something that's kind of like pulled out of the mid 90s era of WWF with the new generation coming in, one of the older heads out like Bob Backlund. But I digress here, as Taz would say. I just need something more in this Death Rider storyline. At first, I was hyped. Now I'm starting to simmer down more in this story. I don't see the belts on every night. I only see the briefcase with the world title being carried around. There's been no recollection of what the leader is. At this point, what more do we have in this story? And honestly, are we going to pull the trigger on Cope versus John Moxley at Revolution for the AEW title as well? And honestly, like I said, there needs to be more in this story. I feel like something is lacking there, and I think not showing the titles, same thing every single week with the beatdowns, and with no recollection of what the leader was, that's where everything's starting to fall flat with me now in this Death Riders storyline.
For sure. And it sucks too, because there was so much potential to this, but it almost feels like they didn't know what they were going to do with it, and they just kind of kept it going, and they just became another stable in AEW instead of that stable that was taking on AEW. So it's a shame to see what happened there, but if we don't have much more to say, guys, this was another episode of AEW Dynamite in the books. And I'm going to actually give a shout out. I just saw Mac Burns send this our way. Crazy Steve just wrestled a dark match earlier tonight where he defeated Serpentico.
Good for Crazy Steve. For those who don't know, Crazy Steve is a TNA household name who went through a lot of stuff in TNA, including being a multiple-time exhibition champion. So good for Crazy Steve getting a little AEW dark match. which probably is now known that he's probably not with TNA anymore. It's with the WWE partnership.
Yeah, there's a
Congratulations, Crazy Steve.
big exile there, but honestly, Crazy Steve is a great talent. If he does go to AEW, that will be a huge gain for them. There is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
great things that he can give them in the ring, but also as a established name, because you can't have enough established names in pro wrestling. So hey, that was really cool to hear. I'm sure there's probably another Colt Cabana and Satnam Singh dark match as well. Wouldn't be surprised. They've been doing that the last like 6 or 7, 8 months.
When can I see Colt Cabana back on my TV screen?
But hey, we saw a lot of good wrestling on our TV screens, so maybe we should just go into one of our segments. Let's go into our match of the night. Guys, I don't know. There is several good matches on here, so I think it's going to be another instance of it being a very difficult choice. But we'll go around the world, and we'll start with Robbie. We'll start with you this time around.
I'm going to go ahead and pick up the tag team title match between the Hurt Syndicate and the Private Party. Private Party for the offense they got in there with the silly string turning into a tornado DDT, and then going for the fact on paper that you should go with the Hurt Syndicate to be put over as the tag team champions. The Hurt Syndicate at this point, it's a complete unit. Syndicate at this point could take out the Death Riders at some point with just MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley. You got two fucking tanks in that ring going at it, tossing around Private Party like they did. Had to be the match of the night.
That's a good choice, Caesar.
I'm going with the ladies match. Hater versus Hart. Solid match. Good job, ladies. Can't wait to see part 3 in this one. Nick?
You know, it might not have been an official match itself, but that opening segment where we had the challenge of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay fighting through the crowd, diving 20 feet from the air onto the Don Callis family, that brawl restored the feeling, in my opinion. That brawl was awesome. That was the best way you could ever open AEW Dynamite, and I think we're going to be seeing highlights of that way beyond now. We're going to be seeing that in 2035 for future Dynamites and whatever shows and pay-per-views they're going to be promoting leading up to that era. But we'll be going from our match of the night. We'll go from the high down to a low, and we'll look at our jobber of the night. And I will be starting us off since I finished last time. Hey, Shoop, there it is. Tyler Shoop. I'm going to give you
Damn
my
it.
jobber of the night. You were quite literally, you lost your match in about 18 seconds, according to Cage Match, but you did your job well. Tony Schiavone was trying to talk about you and your father, and you already lost the match by then. So, Tyler Shoop, shout out to you getting your first AEW match, but unfortunately had to end in 18 seconds. Caesar?
Only because I made this a name earlier. I'm going to say it again just before this stream's over. I'm giving it to Rico Tate. That's all. That's all I've got. Robbie?
And for me, my job of the night has got to be Prince Nana. How the fuck did you let Rigotate take his scissors while you had a fucking lead pipe in your hands? Lead pipe can fucking hit scissors or break someone's hand, the same hand that he's using scissors, but yet
Pipe,
you
scissors,
somehow
paper.
let those little puny little golden scissors come at you almost at your throat. How? How? It's not logic. It's not logical. So Prince Nana, you are the jobber of the night, unfortunately.
Well, we go again. We went from a high to a low, but let's go from the lows to the highs with our mega star of the night. Robin, my man, start us off.
For me, I'm going to start this off. The man that cut a promo tonight on one last outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, is going to go to no other than the devil himself, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. He was just on fire tonight on the mic, hitting over those words, especially being in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is not that far out from Nashville and Hendersonville, for two hometowns at one point of Jeff Jarrett's life, just ripping on him to shreds, sitting there saying that the only reason why that I said you can go for the world title is because you're easy to beat, and you really thought that I really had any kind of basically like any sympathy or anything to motivate you to come get that title. That line that he said tonight, that was last, about making the deal with the devil and not defying him, that was a really good quote that I think a lot of wrestling fans who are hardcore might actually sit and take for years to come because MJF brought it tonight, as always, a megastar, and that is why he carried the company on his back for a year as AEW World Champion. When CM Punk left, to me, MJF is still one of the biggest straws in all elite wrestling, and tonight showed why.
Good choice. Good choice. Caesar.
When it comes to megastars, I'm kind of burning the candle at both sides on this one, but you got to give it to Kenny and Will Ospreay on this one. That was a sick segment, and then the ending of it was just they look at each other from across the way as if to say, "Okay, you jump, I'll jump," and then they went for it. So I'm looking forward to the Saturday show in February to see how it goes down under.
Hey, there we go.
Neek, who
Yes,
you got?
sir. Yes, sir. I gotta say, we hurt people seeing the Hurt Syndicate up there with the tag team titles. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin in record time, only a few months, coming in there in under 10 minutes, killing Private Party, some AEW originals, and getting those tag team titles like they said they would. Those two guys are brute force, just completely embodied. I love both of them. I am very excited personally that Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley have championship gold once again, and I don't think that's going to be the only time they hold titles in AEW. Those two guys will have a lot more. But hey, we went through all those segments. This has been us. Guys, I want to go around the horn real quick. Caesar, let us know where they can find you. I know you got to head out, so let us know where we can find you, and you're free to go.
So, guys, as always, I'm here with these two amazing gentlemen and the man behind the camera, Mr. John Escudero. And then, of course, on the Mondays when I'm not dying of literally anything, I'm hanging out with the boys over there, Tyler and CJ, talking about that good thing called Raw. If you guys want to hit me up on social media, there we go. My handle's right here, and you guys can talk to me. I usually use Twitter mainly for that kind of stuff, but with that being said, that's where I am. Robbie, what about you?
And for me as well, you guys can find me on Facebook. You'll see me commenting on DSR every day of the week, just about. And for Instagram, you can always just look up that name, as same as Facebook. It'll be right there as well. And also, you can find me on the WCW podcast that we do as well, as we just had recovered WCW Greed 2001, which you fans won it for in the poll, and we
How
went
dare
and
you.
did it. We came in, we shored as hell, kicked out a 2.9999999 with that because that was a hefty one, and I hope you all tune in for it as well. And you obviously can catch me here on Dynamite, and sometimes too, depending on if I have time, I'll float into a SmackDown, or possibly, hopefully, January 25th, I could be here for Saturday night's main event as well.
Hey, that's awesome. Yes, join us for Saturday night's main event. We're, of course, going to be doing a show on the Royal Rumble. Like I said, for Dirt Sheet Radio, we will also be going over all of the hosts' predictions. So we're going to be having those available on social media in the very near future once people send them to me. And you can find me as Nick LaRocco on social media. I have a few of my videos shared on the Dirt Sheet Radio page and in the Dirt Sheet Radio forums group. So if you see me on there, please give me a like, give me a follow. I truly appreciate it. And I love being able to talk with you guys either in the comments or in private messages. It is great. And if you enjoyed hanging out with us on here, guess what? You stick around a couple hours. Best kept secret in podcasting will be the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship podcast, the show that started all of this. You're going to be hanging out with me, John, who's been behind the camera, popping in here on occasion, and of course our man Greg. Sometimes Max on there. We have a lot of guests on occasion too, so make sure you go and join us for that. But hey, if you don't want to stay up late, we totally understand. You can also check it out and whenever you want on demand. Do it on your way to work. Do it when you're working out. Whatever you want.
At
I'm not going
work.
to tell you how to listen to your podcasts. But we also got a lot of other famous, amazing, awesome Dirt Sheet Radio shows. We, of course, have Monday Night Raw's recap. And we got
Yeet.
that. You follow that up with NXT on Tuesdays. Wednesdays,
Whoop that
you're already
truth.
here for this. Come back next week when we talk about Dynamite once again next Wednesday. And we're, of course, going to have on Thursdays TNA Impact. On Fridays, SmackDown. We got Friday Nick Mac-John as the boys get together to talk about 3 hours. I can't wait for it to not be 3 hours and to go back down to 2.
Right?
Honestly, it's a lot of wrestling, but
3
we love
hours
you
of
guys.
3
Yes.
hours is a tiffy time? I don't know.
Tiffany. If
No,
it ain't a
that's
pay per view, it should be 2 hours.
exactly. Don't need to be 3 hours long. But hey, you know what? We put ourselves through lots of pain and punishment for you, chat, because we love you. So, of course,
Mhm.
SmackDown. And we put ourselves through some pain and punishment getting through Greed 2001. So we got that recent WCW
Yeah.
stream that we did on Friday. So go check that out on demand. We are going to be getting ready in February to do Chi-Town Rumble
Thank
1989.
God.
An absolutely incredible show. So many people say it's without a doubt one of, if not the best 80s pay-per-views, honestly, I think in all of pro wrestling. So
And not
be
just
sure.
that, too. In my opinion, it's one of the best pay per views that ever took place in Chicago.
Oh yeah, and
Ooh.
there's a lot of wrestling history in Chicago, but we're going to be talking about all that and more. So when we come up with a date for it, make sure to join us in February for the Chi-Town Rumble podcast. And of course, on Sundays, you're going to be having our boys, the 3NT Wrestling Show, where they're going to be talking everything and anything within the week of wrestling. And even just beyond those boys, make sure you go and check out our other boys, Tyler and CJ's Weekend Wrestling Roundup with a W, because hey, you will be getting a W when you listen to that and all of the amazing Dirt Sheet Radio programs. Of course, a bunch of other ones you'll be seeing, Otaku Podcast. Of course, we're going to be probably doing some other shows in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. We just kind of come up with them as we go. So thank you once again, chat, for joining us here. John, are you there to pop up the graphic for a thank you?
There it
There we
is.
go. Hey, thanks for joining us, chat. Make
Perfect.
sure you stay warm and stay safe if you're driving on this cold, wintry season, and we will see you next time.